everyone. It's Lisa with Junk Journal Gems. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I have finished the 2 prom dress journals, and I don't know about you, but I think they turned out lovely. They're so feminine and so beautiful that I've been really anxious to do this video so that I can show them off to you. A reminder that one of them is mine. This one here is mine. And then the other, I almost said the other dress, the other prom dress journal is one that I'm going to be putting up in my Etsy tomorrow. So if you haven't already, go out to the Junk Journal Gems Etsy shop, and the link will be in the description box on the video, so that you can go out there and also click on the notifications so that you're notified when new listings are up in my shop so that you don't miss, especially new journals. I think what I'll do is I'll start with the journal that will be mine, and then we'll move into the journal that will be in the Etsy shop. Let's see, a fuzz here. Okay. So let's go through this, and I'm just gonna double check that you can see okay. Yes, I'm gonna move this over a little bit. So here's the front of the journal. If you remember, I used the bodice of the dress, and these were the buttons that went down along the dress front. I added some tatted lace along the edge here, and that tatted lace came from Little Lace Lady, Linda Price. So you can look her up. She is LLL Angel on Etsy, and I just love her items in her Etsy shop. This also is from her. All the other lace on the front of here came from the dress itself. And this is a doily that I had in my stash. The fabric is all from the dress. I don't know how soon it'll be for me to do another journal like this. This closure piece was actually the collar of the dress, and the 2 buttons on that were at the back of the neck to close up the collar. So as you look at the side, in each of the signatures, I have some vintage lace with some pearl, flatback pearls on there. And let's go inside the journal. Just undo the closure here and we can take a look. If you remember, I intentionally made this journal fat. It's already fat, but I also gave it enough expansion room for me to fill it with even more goodies. As you can see, I use some Edith Holden papers pages as the end papers. And then these are from a Prima paper pad. And let's enter the journal. Coffee dye paper with doilies, just because it's such a feminine journal. I did a bunch of stenciling using Tim Holtz stencils. This particular stencil is called Roses. A little butterfly here with a piece of the Edith Holden book page. And on the edge of this lace, I have a bulb pin with some dangles from some vintage necklaces that I thrifted at a thrift store. This is some trim with behind it, a piece of fabric that came actually off of a top of mine. And I just sewed it into a ruffle and used it with some of the Prima paper scraps to make a belly band. This inside is a vintage greeting card that I just embellished with some bits of lace, some flowers, and a sentiment. When you open it, it's got some journaling space inside. I just covered the greeting with some vintage papers that I had on hand. But greeting cards make really nice journaling cards. Another Edith Holden book page inside, more coffee dyed paper. The DigiKit that I used inside both of the journals came from Liana Scrap, and the DigiKit is called Pink Roses. It's just so pretty. I love her DigiKits. Page from Edith Holden book page. I saved a poem from the book with some of the stenciling behind that, and this Tim Holtz stencil is the Doilies stencil. These pages are from a high school, an old high school days. This actually would be from an antique book that really wasn't that used, and the images just went so wonderful with this. Being that it's from a high school book, of course it goes with my high school prom dress. Which kind of matches their outfits now that I think about it. Oh my, more stenciling. This is a piece that we did together with the 5-item swap that I did with Catherine. That was a ton of fun, and this gives me some additional journaling space. Here is the tag from the dress. It's a Gunny Sacks dress. I wonder if that brand even exists at all anymore. I doubt it. I'm aging myself. And this is a decoupage glassine envelope with some cheesecloth, coffee dyed, and this was just an embellishment. I think I fussy cut off of some scrapbook paper and then a scrap of fabric behind that. Did a little stamping on the back of the envelope, and inside it's an image that I loved on some coffee dyed paper that I can use for journaling. I tried to put things in this journal that I've been kind of hoarding just because I like them or found them interesting. Here's a little snippet in the corner with some of my favorite tatted lace that I've had in my stash. Here's one of the quad flip outs. Lots of journaling space in there. I always forget how to fold them back up. And back behind that is one of the postcard note cards that I did. And then over on this side is a card that's attached with a what do they call these? Bullnose or something? Another one of the postcard note cards. And then here's a booklet that I made just using scraps. This is just from a old sack that I had in my scrap box, and I just basically wanted to get rid of it, so I might as well use that. It's just sewed across the top, and I used a floral image from a book and have a little bit of roses here with some coffee dyed lace. And this whole piece here has been collaged on with some more Liana scrap papers, some scrapbook paper. And then back here are some pieces from a book that I can use as journaling cards. So we'll put this back inside. And here's the extra space that I afforded myself so that I can put more things in the book and let it get as gator-mouthed as I want. Here's a peekaboo flash card that I made. I've not put a tag in there yet. I'm saving that for when I have a piece of ephemera that I want to stick in the pocket. But here is a copy of a vintage letter. I have a collection of vintage letters, and I copied them on coffee dyed paper, and then you can journal on the back. Just got that pretty coffee dyed image on it. On the letter it says, "Dear Stinky." That doesn't sound very nice, does it? Okay. Here is a German vocabulary card of the months. You flip it over, And here is another pocket with a tag to write on, with some little pocket with one of the Roxy Creation doilies, and some more journaling space here. That goes back in. And this flips out for more journaling space. More Liana Scraps Digis. Some of the pages I left blank because I like to decorate as I'm using a journal too. Here's the other page that I did from the 5-item swap. Here's Catherine's card. More space to journal on. That way, this and the other page are my Catherine pages. Hi, Catherine, if you're watching. I love this Duluth, Minnesota postcard. Here is a tag pocket that I got this idea from Gail Agostinelli. And then this is an old receipt that I just backed with some scrapbook paper. And then I've got space to journal on the back of it. This piece here is fun. It's just a small, I think 5 by 7-ish size scrapbook paper that I just used some vellum pieces to make pockets and decorated that with a sentiment and some buttons and a floral piece. This is a piece of ephemera that I got from, oh, what's the name of that kit? I use it all the time. I should have it ingrained in my mind. Where is it? I actually need to print out more of it because I've used, here. It is called Distressed Labels from Gifts and Things. There's a little tag. These tags are in my Etsy shop. These are fun to decorate with just some little scraps and stamp on them. Here's another little journaling space with a scrap page, or scrap piece. Just fits nice in the pocket. Copy of an old Valentine. And a journaling tag or bookmark, whatever you want to call it, that I can write on the back. So there's some more space, and in between or on the binding, I put some vintage crocheted lace as well, so that as I'm going through the journal, the inside of it is pretty as well, because I left so much space in between the signatures. I don't normally do that because I don't normally leave this much space. That was a special order for myself. More journaling space and a double pocket. These pieces also came from a Roxy Creations kit, the doilies kit. Vellum pocket here. So you can see the altered lotto card, which also you can write on the back, or I can. Not used to doing flip-throughs of something that I'm going to use. Here's a little punch card. I can write on the back of this. I don't know, I just kind of wanted to keep one of the punch cards for myself. Little pocket here, the tag. It's really cute. Goes nicely with the roses on the DigiKit. And then here's another pocket with a similar tag. Some vintage lace for a tab. And you can flip this out to write on it. More Edith Holden scrap on the end of the page. And here's that flip out piece that I did. make sure you can see it. Got a tag here. I love this image of that sweet girl. And then another tag here with a button on it. These papers here again are from that same Prima kit. And here's another tag. These images I copied from an old booklet that I have. And then here, you know, look and see where I am with the camera. I made a little writing board and just put some scrapbook paper on it that went with the theme of the journal. And along the edges, you initially could see the cardboard in there, and I didn't want to see that, so I just took some stickles and went around the edge. And I like how that turned out because it actually makes it look like it's been gilded. So that ended up pretty cool. And handmade by me. Here's the end paper. So this is the journal that is mine. Now I'll have to just have patience to finish up the journal that I'm using now so I can dive into this one. It'll be hard. All right, so that's this one. And then here's the one that will be in my Etsy shop. Again, the fabric is from my prom dress. This piece is from the prom dress also, the dress tied in the back. So this is one of the ties that I have sewn to the back, and then it wraps around the journal twice. I just tied it like this because I thought it would be really cute sitting like this on a shelf, and then with the vintage lace behind it. I used some doilies on the front. This one I had in my stash. This one's vintage. These two I got from Donna Little. And this, this is a piece from jewelry that I had in my stash that came from a piece of jewelry that I think was my mom's. So let's go inside this beauty and take a look at it. But before we do that, let me give you some measurements here. So the journal is about 8.5 high by 5 3/4 wide, and the spine is about 2 3/4. All right, let's go inside. So this is what I mean in that it wraps around twice. Here you can see the front then without the closure on it. And it's got the corner ends. Make sure I'm centered for you. Again, like the other book, it's got Edith Holden end papers. And here in the front pocket is another one of the old receipts turned into a journaling card. And this pocket is nice and big, so whoever gets the journal will be able to plump that up with additional extras. But it's got beautiful coffee dyed papers in it. This is some of that aged paper that I purchased from Amazon that already looks coffee dyed, but it's not. I love the feel of this smooth paper and writing on it. And then here's another one of those same belly bands. And inside of this, I have a journaling booklet that I made from a waxed sandwich bag with an image inside from a vintage sewing book. And these are coffee dyed ledger pages. And here's some more of the images from that vintage sewing book. Edith Holden inside. This is a coin envelope that I made from a template that I made myself, and have little doily pieces, the word faith, and Tim Holtz paper doll. And inside there is a card to journal on. And then I just have a rusted paper clip to use to attach it. Same Liana Scrap Pink Roses kit. And on this one, I did not leave I printed on each side of the DigiKit pages. This is actually a blank piece from that high school days book. I love how aged those papers are. Some lace inside. Very feminine. And here's another altered Lotto game card with some old school notebook paper on the back. And then here's a little collaged tag in an altered flashcard that when you open the number, you can see through. It's got Tim Holtz vellum inside of there. I'm going to double check and make sure you can see okay. Let's come over a little. All right, so here's another one of those altered envelopes. It's collaged on the front with some of the scrapbook paper and some journaling tags inside. I love that print. And here's another one of the bigger tags with a Longfellow poem on front. Okay, let's come over a little. Here's another of the quad flip outs. Oops. And another tag here. Coordinated the Edith Holden image to go with the papers on the opposite side. And then here is a collaged envelope as well. And then inside is another Edith Holden poem. You can tuck more things in here as well. More lace, and on this bulb pin, oops, is another piece from a thrifted piece of jewelry. I just thought the pinks went so well with this journal. Kind of fancy. Here's a little ticket holder with fun little pieces of ephemera tucked inside. Some of these are Tim Holtz pieces. Here's another one of those tags. Another, I think this is a Tim Holtz piece. And then this is, I have a little stack of old inter-office mailing sealers. And the user can use that to make notes on also. That's kind of fun. Here is a collaged glassine bag with some pieces of vintage lace, a little piece from a doily. In the sack itself is a large journaling card. And then this is on the page like a tuck spot, and there's another journaling card behind it. So there's all kinds of spots to write in. Speaking of which, here's another flip out. Oops, I've got that in backwards. It's supposed to be like this. The little bird there. You open this up, and in each side is a pocket with some more journaling cards. So this one goes in this side, and on the opposite side is another journaling card. And all kinds of space to write on inside. Whoops, I tucked it in there too far. here's another one of the Gail Agostinelli inspired 4-pocket tag ideas. And here's the letter that I had in mind. I have the same one in this one for the user to read and write on the back to their heart's content. It's fun to read these old letters. I just love these images on that kit. So pretty. More Edith Holden. Look at that. And here's a little corner tuck with some journaling cards. Look at that beautiful print. And here's a pocket here with some, this is Tim Holtz paper. A little journaling spot there. And there is a journaling spot here. And another up here. We'll keep on moving. This is a little tuck with a cluster that I did. And there's a beautiful coffee dyed paper inside for the user to write all their secrets on. Here is another little belly band kind of pocket with a big journaling card on the back, tucked in there. And here's the end of the book. So I hope that you've enjoyed the flip through. Like I said, I will have this in the Etsy shop tomorrow. Please go out to the Etsy and take a look, and if you're interested in the book, make sure that you go out and make sure that you're notified when something new is listed in the Etsy shop. If there are questions, feel free to message me or add a note in the comments and I'll be happy to respond to you. Take care. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a terrific day.